Uh,
Yeah, sorry.
I figured you'd see me enough. But second half, it looked like your team lost it with a number of yellow cards. Did you think the emotions got to your team too much as the game went on?
I think it's two ways of seeing it. Yes, it can be the emotion. It can be the comment from JC during the week can influence the referee, and I think everybody has to analyze the situation. But I think when you put in a question mark on a referee's credibility before a big game, that can have an impact. And I think you all agree that had an impact on the referee's performance today. And I feel sorry because we came here to play a good game and to play a derby game. And derby game sometimes, yes, is a tackle, is late, but I don't think the referee, I believe, that get influenced by the comment during the week.
Patrick, Bradley Wright Phillips, in these 2 years of this rivalry, has had a lot of success. What's made him so tough for you guys to deal with, Bradley Wright Phillips, and also Sasha today? What'd you think of how he?
I think we didn't defend well as a team. I think as a team we give them too much space. I believe that as a block, the way we plan to defend, we didn't respect it. It was really too easy for them to penetrate centrally. And Anthony was sometimes exposed against two players. I believe that from the front players, we didn't work hard enough to make it more difficult for them. No, Bradley is a good player, and I think, like any other players in the league, when you give them space, he can express his talent, and we knew how good he is, and he confirmed the quality that he has.
What do you think the Red Bulls did differently today in this game compared to the previous match in terms of controlling the match and getting your side kind of pinned back in your own half?
Influencing the referee during the week, I think that has a massive part of the game. Secondly, they wanted, I think, more than us. I think we didn't show enough to take back something at home. I think when we had the ball, I was quite happy with the way that we played, but I'm really unhappy with the way that we work as a team without the ball. And I think this is how we let ourselves down and we make it a little bit more easy for them.
July 3rd, your team handled the press very well. It seemed like it was a little bit different.
Sorry?
Your team handled the press very
Yeah.
well on July 3rd. What was different about how they were pressing this game that made it a little bit more difficult for you to build out of the back?
No, but I think the comment from JC during the week had a massive impact on the referees, and of course that had an impact of the way we play. But you know, when you're taking in doubt the credibility of the referee, it happened that the referee sometimes making the wrong decision, and I think today he make more decision in favor of the Red Bulls because the manager been crying all the week. At the end, he get what he wanted to. But on the other side, we knew about the way they was pressing, and I believe that. Even under the press, we managed to get the ball from the back the way we wanted to, and of course at 3-1 with Tommy chances. If we go at the back of the net 3-2, that could be a completely a different game.
Patrick, Jesse's talked about the refs a lot this year. Do you
Sorry?
think Jesse's talked about the refs a lot this year, not favoring his side? Do you think that has influenced other matches as well this year, or do you think in particular this one alone really influenced it?
I think you watch the game the same way I watch it, so I think we all have to make our own opinion. I think it didn't just happen like that. That is a plan. That is a way. I think he wanted to go for, and he get fined for it. So that means he did something wrong, and you wanted to accept it or not, but that had an impact on the referee's decision. As simple as that.
Patrick, there always seems to be some kind of tension or animosity between you and Jesse since the beginning of the year with this rivalry. Is there anything that stems from?
No, not at all. I think we are completely different as a person and as a character because he's acting one way, I act in a different way. But I think this is a part of the derby. He wants to win, I want to win, and sometimes there is tension. And I think there is two different clubs acting in a different way, and this is a part of the derby. But of course, I think you can see that after this comment, as a football club, we didn't decide to respond because that is not the way we want to do things. We have the full respect of the referee. We do understand that sometimes decision is really difficult to make from the referee. One day is for us, one day is against us. We understand it and we respect it. And some people don't, and they prefer to cry openly, and it's good because he went for them this time.
When you talk about the impact that it had on the game, could you be more specific? Was
No,
it the
but
penalty kick? Or
No, the penalty kick, it was a penalty kick.
Okay.
I saw that and that was clear.
Okay.
And you have to look at it. You watched the game, and I think you look at the first 3 or 4 offside that we had. There is no way that was an offside. We wanted or no, we wanted. Look at the way that the referee make a decision on the field. You have the opinion, and some of you may think that I'm wrong, and I fully accept that. And this is my perception, the way I've seen it. And then after there is the fact. And the fact is that the referee has been influenced by the comment and put the credibility of the referee on the line. And that is really poor for the game.
But that's not the referee, that's the assistant referee you're talking about with the offside.
No, but you're talking about the offside. But the referee, they all have the same rules. They all read the papers like everybody else. So we're talking about the linesman, we're talking about the fourth referee, we're talking about the referee, we're talking about all of them. You get influenced by what you read and what you hear. And I don't think that's appropriate to come out in the week that there's a derby. And there's a reason why he came out.
Okay, last question.
Patrick, this team came into the derby in first place, facing a team that needed the result. Do you see when this has happened before in your career, where you've probably had rivalry games against a team that's desperate, such as the Red Bulls? Was there a way you could, in hindsight, maybe protect your team from the possible extra influences from the opposition like this, from something like making the team aware that the referee could be influenced by the team, by the coach?
You know, the only things you can control is our performance. That's the only thing. The referee's decision, you can't control it. We have to control our own performance, and I will do my own autocritic about the way we played. Yes, I may be a little bit exposed the team. I will have to reflect on the team performance. But the only thing I can control is our team and our players' performance. Referee is making a decision, and the referee making the decision with what's going on in the week.
Okay. Any more?
Good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
During the week about the referees, and that they were impacted greatly by your comments, and that it wasn't fair, and that he told you so at one point. Is there any?
I mean, he never said anything to me. That's all I can say. He didn't want to shake my hand in the hallway. But I've seen this from him after the game before, so it's not a problem. I'm going to focus on us, which I think that the game was decided by players, and I think that in every way our players put a big imprint on the game, and I thought that from the first minute that they were, even on a hot day, very alert, very tuned in, stuck to our game plan, and deservedly got the result.
We'll go far left to Christian.
How were you able to adjust the high press coming from the July 3rd match where they seemed to handle it pretty well? It seemed like they really had a lot of difficulty this time around with their build-up play out of the back, and that impacted a couple performances.
Yeah, I think the weather had something to do with that. It was hot, and so, they weren't able to really get a rhythm. But our pressure was very organized. We knew it had to be. We worked on it extensively this week and talked about it. And I thought that the players executed, again, the game plan according to the pressure, according to the ball movement, according to the tactics with the ball. So, again, I think that it was a well executed game for 90 minutes, which, we've still, at home we've been able to do that a lot better than on the road. And now can we take this kind of mentality and approach and make sure that on the road we can manage it the same way?
Jesse will go far right to Eric.
Jesse, another 2 goals for Brad in this one. It seems like every time he plays against NYCFC, he has some kind of impact. What do you think it is about him that allows him to rise to the occasion in these big derby matches?
Well, I think more than anything, it's when Brad has had rest, right? When Sasha has had rest and they've been able to recover, that they've been able to produce quality in big moments. So, first full week of training that we've had in a while where we can actually rest a little bit, work on some things, get sharp in training, design a game plan, execute it, and then, allow our players to play the game. So I think more than anything, okay, Brad's a big game player. Sasha's a big game player. There's no question about that. But the more that we can, I think, control how many minutes they're putting in and what their workloads are, I think the better that they'll be. Now that requires partly that the guys who are behind them to be able to step up when necessary. So it's both sides. We need to continue to call on the depth of our team, and then we need Brad and Sasha to keep themselves sharp and going.
We'll go first to Ivis and then Joe.
Along those lines, Bradley and Sasha, you could tell they were on, like they were in. Did you coming into the week? Did you have a sense that this was coming from those two guys, and specifically NYC? It seems like Bradley just gets up for them even more than other opponents.
He
does.
See
that?
Yeah, he does. There's no doubt. Even when I took him off, he didn't want to come off, right? He wanted to get the third. Well, with the way that they pressure, we felt like we could do certain things to gain advantages in certain parts of the field, which would then lead Sasha to find gaps in their team. And then, whenever Sasha's catching balls in important spots, he knows that his first option is Brad. And so his ability to sort of move and see things and then slip a ball to Brad in the right way, that sets him up to execute around the goal. That's what makes their relationship special, and that's what makes each one of them good. I think they really work off of each other to make each other better.
We'll go to the left first to Dave.
Coach, one of your defining attributes since you've taken over has been one is a master of motivation, mental games, things of that nature. This week, you weren't prompted to talk about the referees. You said what you felt about the referees. Was that mind games? Did you really feel that at the time?
I would say that I've tried to always be respectful, okay, and I've tried to communicate with the league and with the officials in a respectful way. I guess they interpreted this latest opinion that I had, or way of voicing my opinion, as disrespectful. So then I according to league policy, I get fined. But I look at it as I ask my players to fight for every inch, every day on the field. I ask them to do everything they can to gain advantages and to win battles. And so for me, I felt that my job on this week was to voice certain things, and I felt that it was important with where we were in the season and where we were in the schedule and everything else to make sure that I was standing up for our guys and our club.
We'll go.
I thought Geiger was fantastic. All right, and this is not just because we won, and it's not just because I said something in the press. I think he had a very good, clean game, where there really weren't many mystery calls or doubts or where things were going. There was one that maybe deflected out for a corner and maybe a foul, little ticky-tack foul here or there, but it's hard to argue with that performance. I think it's maybe the best that we've seen of the year. So, and I know Mark's taken a lot of heat, and for him, and I think in a big game and one that he knew there were a lot of eyes on, to be, I think, very poised and called the game the way he did, I think he did a very good job.
We'll go far left to Dan.
You and your team this week said that you took issue with the way that NYCFC celebrated after the last game in the Instagram post. So today, how did it feel to put 4 up on NYCFC and get the victory in front of Red Bull fans?
Listen, we are focused on us, and we are focused on our season, and we've had a lot of big challenges this year. We dug a huge hole for ourselves, all right? The last 15 games, we're 8-3-4, all right? It's not the best record in the league in that stretch, but it's a very, very good record. And so I think for us, we feel like we've dug ourselves out. And it's not been easy, man. We've had our backs against the wall in a lot of different weeks. We've let games slip. We haven't been as good as we'd like to be on the road. But I feel like now we're starting to really show that not that we're turning the corner, but that we've turned the corner. And the key for us now is to keep our foot on the gas and to keep going after games, to stay concentrated and focused on what it's going to take night in and night out, and to now make sure that we're getting good performances from as many players as we possibly can.
We'll go first to the right to Joe and then to the left to Jerry.
Jesse, you're 2 years, 6 games into this rivalry. What's your opinion on how it's grown in the time?
I mean, it has grown, but it's been there from day one. I think that's what's been pretty awesome about it. I think from the fan bases to the organizations to the players, I think that there's been a lot of energy and a lot of pride from both sides. And, now that we're starting to build history and you're starting to see hatred, that's going to add to it for the upcoming games and years to come. So that's what makes rivalries. That's what makes derby matches. It's there. It's there.
Jesse, last week was also a rivalry game, more for Philadelphia's side than from our side. But they were able to take advantage of the pressing late in the game because that's what you continued to do. But NYFC did not seem to be able to do that. Was that more about adjustments that you made, the weather, from just last week to this week? What was the changes there?
Well, again, I think last week there's a big issue with heavy legs, right? Having to play a midweek and then a team that's fresh. And so, we're demanding a lot of our guys and asking them to produce quality performances time and time again. So we're always trying to get that balance right. But, it was on the road. Their crowd got into the game. And to be fair, we hung on, right? We weren't happy that we didn't walk out of there with 3 points, but to still hang on and get a point and then move ourselves forward, there's still momentum, right? So I think we maybe have 5 games where we haven't lost. So we're starting to get ourselves going, and we know we could be better off than where we're at, but we've just got to keep focused on moving forward and getting stronger.
We'll go straight back to Fooch.
Jess, can you talk about the corner kicks this year and how successful you've been, and
Yeah.
also Sasha's game today, how he kind of controlled the game for you?
Yeah, with what we do on our set pieces, we try to build in a lot of creativity and a lot of different options and ways of unbalancing a team. But that also means that when we get direct service and we get good runs, that they're still trying to calculate what might be next, and if it's just a simple ball and a service and a run and we bury the header, then that means that we've done our job by also creating a lot of questions for what might come next. So it still comes down to all the guys embracing what we do on set pieces and then executing and sticking to the game plan and knowing their roles, right? Then Sasha on the day, again, I think because Sasha's just now a little bit fresher and a little bit has his legs and he's clear, and we create options for him from how we play in the back and put him in a lot of positions that put him in situations to succeed and make final plays. You see the best of Sasha. So he's had a great year. He's had a great year, and he's going to get better.
We'll go to the right with Matt.
Hey, Jesse. Jack Harrison's played a key role for NYCFC since he's been integrated in their lineup. How important do you think it was for Connor to kind of get into him early on to throw him off his game?
Listen, Jack made 2 big plays last time we played in New York City, right? But they were both when Connor wasn't around him. And I think that we really like that matchup. We like Connor. He's our best 1v1 defender. It's partly his low center of gravity, but it's also he just takes so much pride in it. He wills himself to win some of these battles. So, I encouraged him coming into this week and said that he did a really good job with Harrison last game, and he's a tricky guy, but that we were going to call on him again. And a lot of times it was going to be in 1v1 situations. And I think that he won that battle today.
We'll go far left to Tom.
Jesse, all things considered, as you mentioned before, you're 8-3-4, and you said earlier that you're a different team at home opposed to being on the road. You're at Chicago next week. The next 2 of 3 games are on the road. How do you avoid that complacency and fall into the same trap that many other Eastern Conference teams have, where you guys have been very good, even though, as you said, 8-3-4 is not great?
Yeah.
You've got a much better leg up on everybody else with some games in hand as well.
Well, I think the complacency part was a talking point early in the season, but the hole we dug and the challenges we've been through this year have meant that is no longer a factor. There's not complacency, and there's only drive to get better. And the key is now just to go on the road and have a little bit more confidence, be a little bit more sharper, be a little bit more focused and concentration on what the game plan is, how to establish things, and then if we get leads, which we've managed to do a lot on the road, manage the game properly. So we'll get better for these moments. We will, and we'll figure out ways to get more results on the road.
Go front left to Dan.
Jesse, the action on the field besides the goals, a lot of chippiness out there, a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving. You know, Mike thought he got fouled in the area, thought he got a penalty, and then wasn't awarded. Then he was bumping against his defender. Like you said, it's already becoming now a big rivalry. Are we going to see all of a sudden it's going to break out into maybe fisticuffs one day?
I think our team has enough discipline to understand to stick to the game, but a big part of playing in big games right? And that's tactically, that's with the ball, but certainly that's in 50-50s and aerials and tackles. That becomes, setting the tone in that manner becomes as important as anything in a derby match. So, you know, our ability to do that this time was at a high level. And if I were to look back at one thing we talked about after being in New York City was we felt that they established an edge better than we did on that day, and they were rewarded with the win.
We'll take our final question in the front.
Just to pick up on that, you said that New York City established an edge today, but did you see anything from New York City when they first came out today which led to why they were so far pinned back in their own half and they seemed like they couldn't even relieve any pressure that was sustained by your team?
Well, we wanted to press them. We wanted to go after them. We didn't want to sit back. We wanted to attempt them to play through us. They've shown that that's what they're sticking to, and we were going to make sure that in all ways that we were going to be on top of the game. And we knew that they like to pass in their own end, and we like to pass in our opponent's end. So it meant that a lot of the game was going to be played in that end of the field. But the key was when there were breakdowns, not to let ourselves be exposed behind us. And again, I think on the day we did a really good job with that.
Thanks, Jesse.
Okay.